Hello, everybody. My name is Stephen D. Kelley. This is the Stephen D. Kelley Show. This is Truth Cat Radio, www.truthcatradio.com. And I might just mention that this is the only damn source of truth out there. And I am really sad to have to say that. But it is Thursday. It's 11/18/2021. It's 6:01 p.m. Couple of interesting things going on. Expecting to have an eclipse here. We got a full moon. We're going to have a lunar eclipse. That should be interesting. And at the same time, there's a rocket going off from Vandenberg, that place next to the Getty where the Secret Space Force lives. And this particular rocket is going to be carrying a satellite. And this satellite is going to leave our solar system. I'm not sure exactly. It's interplanetary, definitely, but it's going to be aiming itself at an asteroid that's supposedly coming close to the Earth. Now, the asteroid's actually a pair of asteroids. It's one big chunk of rock, and the other one's slightly smaller, circling around this thing every 12 hours. That means it moves about 4 inches every minute or something like that. Anyway, interestingly enough, the smaller of the asteroids, the one they're going to be shooting at, is called Didymos, which of course is Greek for twin. Now, Thomas, of course, is also named Didymos, and he's also a twin, and his twin is Jesus, which of course is the bigger one that gets all the attention. So it's interesting that they're going to shoot at Thomas and hopefully cause it to bang into the other one and knock it off its trajectory, and so it doesn't hit the Earth. I don't think it will. The odds of it hitting are very, very slim. But either way, they're going to do this thing. But the symbolism there, it's almost like the bigger one that's coming to the Earth is Jesus and his twin Thomas circling around him, orbiting around him. Interesting. Now, I really wanted to talk about the book that I've decided to write, this being the 9-year anniversary here in November of me coming out and introducing the last book, Lasers, Cavers, and Magic, which of course was reprinted or revised and stuck back out there as Cities Under the Plane, which is essentially the same book, just minus a chapter, a good chapter at that. Anyway, so like I said, I've decided to write a new book, and I'll talk about it a little bit later, but something struck me between then and today, and that was when someone on Twitter made a random comment in a message they were sending to me, and they said, now would be a good time for Jesus to show up. And this, of course, kind of hit me. I'm like, what? Why now? What are you expecting would happen? Anything different than what's happening right now? And then I see some of the pages, especially some of the pages on Telegram that are supporting Trump still, like the Kim Shady page and what have you. And they like to make a lot of religious references. And to just sort of put it in a quick synopsis, you could say that the issue I want to kind of deal with here is this thinking that Jesus is this big brother figure, that's going to show up and beat up your enemies. Now, this sort of thing bothers me for a lot of reasons, because obviously the work that I'm trying to do, which is nothing short of just trying to save the entire world from 25 million years of evil. I don't know, that's kind of a big job, the sort of job that you would expect Jesus to take on were he here. So I want to really ask a lot of questions, and of course I'm not prepared. I have to kind of think of the questions and try to imagine what's going on in the heads of the people out there that are thinking like this. And at the same time, I also want to use a very little bit of scripture to kind of answer some questions, at least using the words of Jesus, to answer some of the questions that are being thrown out. Now, when I created the artwork for the show and posted on Telegram, quite a few people took it as a question, as if I was asking you a question. What would you do? What would you do? Well, no, it was actually just the artwork for the show. The show was asking you the question. But a few people made comments. And one of them, Thomas, I think it was you, I'm not going to read the silly thing, but you basically inferred that Jesus had never left and that he's busy kicking Satan's ass and it just takes time and Satan's on the ropes, something of this nature. Now, in a way, you could say that nothing that you said wasn't true, but at the same time, people have a tendency of throwing around words that they think sound good, and especially when you're dealing with a religious thing like the Second Coming, they can become more flower than substance. So, praise God, hallelujah, it's important, especially now, that we cut through the BS and we cut through the flowery talk and we speak logically and in such a way that average people can understand without being turned off by the dogmatic overtones. Now, of course, with the question that came about the person that said that Jesus was here, the first thing that comes to my mind, of course, which is normally a reference for what we should be doing, is that when Jesus said, "Do as I have done, do even better than I have done, for I will be with the Father." In other words, he's gone. He's not going to be here. And the simple instructions can't get any more simple because it's been said over and over and over and over. Do as I have done. Do as I have done. What more do you need to know? Now, obviously, he spells it out even clearer when he says, sell all your possessions. When someone says, he says, follow the laws, do good, serve your brothers, help people, keep the Sabbath holy, whatever. The man says, oh, but I do all these things. Jesus says, well, if you want to do more, sell everything you own, give it away, and then come follow me. And that's where it stops. So right away we know that average people who endeavor to be good people, can do all these things, can serve others, can be respectful, can be spiritual, all these good things. But until you're ready to give it all up, turn your back on everything, your possessions, your family, your life, your reputation, to pursue this, you haven't gone all the way. So you're still somewhat of an armchair observer. And if you're sitting out there in church, and I'm just going to suggest that from a religious perspective that people tend to go to these gatherings where some leader tells them what to think and programs them with these concepts of God and what to expect from God and so-called promises that God has made or that they are expecting God to fulfill. So what do they say? So, basically, what are people going to do? They're going to get this idea that if they just persevere, they weather the storm of the evil around them, and they wait, and they follow the rules, be good Christians or whatever, that sooner or later, Jesus, the angels, Jehovah, whatever it is that you're thinking, but for tonight we're talking about Jesus, is just going to show up and somehow fix everything. So we have to look at what exactly is it that you think is going to happen. Now, first of all, before we even try to consider how Jesus would manifest in our third density a second time, let's talk about when he was here the last time. Now, bear with me. I'm trying really hard not to get sick. Sorry, that kitty's over. They're fighting. We're getting doused with chemtrails really bad right now, and I'm doing everything I can to not get sick. So it's unfortunate, but such is life. So the last time Jesus was here as a human, born, and raised, became a man, and preached and gathered his disciples, etc. He was a human. Now, he may have done miracles. He did healing. He did quite a few things that are documented that we are told that we call miracles, that were intended to help us believe or see who he was. But it was never enough. And as I've said before, even those that were closest to him, the apostles, were never that impressed. They still thought, well, you're still just a human. When are you going to start doing God stuff? I'm sure that was very frustrating. But so let's look at historical perspective. Again, even when Jesus walked the earth, when he actually walked the earth, he had a lot of people that loved him, but for the most part, even a lot of those people that loved him didn't even really understand who he was or what he was. So they didn't comprehend his humanity. Now, the world population and the geographical area of the world that he touched was relatively small, obviously in his lifetime, but throughout time it spread, although being tainted by the words of other humans along the way. But globally speaking, aside from bringing his message and teaching, performing miracles, he did not upend the status quo. He did not destroy the pagan, satanic, the evil structure that was definitely in place at that time. So the evil that we think of today is the same evil, exactly, that's been going on in the time of Jesus and before. It's just a little more sophisticated. So the point is, he did, of course, bring souls back, but we're told that the next time around, he's going to come back as a lion. He's going to do all these incredible things. This, of course, I believe is mostly in Revelations, but we're also told about the Antichrist, and we're told about the great whore of Babylon and all these other fairy tales, riding in on dragons, this kind of thing. I really don't understand why that's necessary. But we can probably assume that most people that are expecting Jesus to return are expecting him to ride in on a cloud, on a chariot, surrounded by angels with swords, and they're going to, I don't know what you think they're going to do. They're going to come down and compel the evil people to prostrate themselves and stop doing evil, and they're going to make all the chains fall off of the slaves, and they're going to bring the children to the surface. Is that what you're expecting? Something non-earthly, some non-earthly event is going to happen? Now, let's just say for a second that that's what's going to happen. Okay, you believe that's going to happen. All right. Okay, so now you've got God, Son of God, non-3D entity walking amongst us, utilizing the power of creation as we speak, as we stand, real time, making everything wonderful, bringing paradise, whatever. Are you still living, or are you being taken back to heaven? And if you are still living, are you still you? Do you have your little job? Do you still live in your house? Do you take care of your kids? Do you go to school? Do you have to pay your bills? Does that stop? What's different? What do you think's going to happen? You're going to get robes and be like angels and worship at the foot of Jesus? You know, you guys didn't do that the first time. A lot of people did, but not everybody. The government didn't just prostrate itself. The Pharisees sure as fuck didn't prostrate themselves. So now this time, though, you think, now this is just one scenario, of course, one option, but this time you think that when he comes in, he's going to be terrible to look at, and he's going to just have all this magic, which is going to either force you to do something or is going to kill you if you don't. Do you think that's how he works? Do you think that's how it all works? So now, if in that scenario, you're face to face now with the Son of Man walking in your little neighborhood. Is that what it's going to take for you to do what you should have been doing before he got there? And if you weren't already, are you worthy? In other words, who's he there for? What's he working for? Do you really think that God is going to come here so that you can continue living a suburban lifestyle, watching TV, having breakfast, whatever silly ass thing? I mean, come on. Now, unfortunately, humans, they can't think outside of a third density reality, which is okay. And they have to make up things like dimensions and things like that to try to understand the mechanics of the universe. But if you understand the mechanics of the universe, you'll understand that for prophecy to take place, or for these great historical world-changing events to take place, they have to happen within the mechanics of the system. That's why when Jesus was here the last time, he was a real live 3D human. He could still alter 3D. He had the ability, but he didn't come here to be this thing that everybody's expecting. So what's more likely? Let's say Jesus came back the way he did, exactly the way he did the first time. Was born, grew up, did or did not have brothers and sisters, and did the process that he did back then. Same thing. Would you know? Would you know anything? There's people scattered all over the world now. Jerusalem was a relatively small place, but it was also the center of most of the civilization at the time too. So that's where a lot of humans were. 1 million humans. Now we've got 7 billion humans, quite a bit more. We also have social media and the internet. We also have censorship. Now, okay, let's imagine Jesus. Jesus is here. Christ is walking around. He's got a Facebook account. He's trying to save souls, and his Facebook account gets shut down by those Pharisees. What does he do? Is he going to say something to them and force them to open it back up? Is he going to use magic? You guys, all you really got to do is look back to the way it was and try to detach the myth and the fairy tale and think along the lines of what is real and what's going on right now in front of your face. Once again, I remind you, he said, do as I have done, do even better. I won't be here. Yes, he is here. He's here with us. He's using us. He's supporting us. He's defending us. He's making us stronger. And he's telling us what to do. But if you don't do it, or you don't listen, or you're too busy doing something else, it doesn't get done. And need I remind you, I think he was very clear when he said there's no place for businessmen in the kingdom of his Father. So, if survival and making money and doing business is more important, you're not going to make it. It's just the way it is. So, again, let's say Jesus was here. Now, I suspect if he was here, he would probably be doing the most decisive action that would cause the destruction of the old ways, the old evil ways, and bring about a new earth and a new paradise. He'd be doing exactly what I'm doing. It's pretty darn simple. Now, unfortunately, I can't convince anybody of this, but I can just know it. And, of course, I also know how destiny works, and I also know this happens one way or the other, with you or without you. It's not going to be my fault. If you're not already doing the work, you're not going to be ready. When he says, do as I have done, because I'm not here, why aren't you doing as he has done? Why aren't you? You think it's not possible? You think you're incapable? Are you even trying? What did he do? He did miracles. He used spiritual power, spiritual gifts. You should be trying to do that. He went around teaching. You should be trying to do that. I know what he wasn't doing. He wasn't fighting. He wasn't openly trying to tear down the entire satanic world structure. And yet we know the Roman Empire, which was running everything, you can't get much more satanic than that. So why is this time any different? So if you consider the mission, to occupy the Getty mission, if you consider the reality of what we're trying to do, actually force the end of the most powerful control structure in the world, this globe, and its control structure, which controls the universe, we're not screwing around. We're not playing games. We are fighting Satan in Satan's front yard. Very soon we will be in the front door. We will be in his bedroom. We will be cutting his head off while he is in bed. What else would we be doing? The mission is very clear. You don't have to know the details. You just have to push it. If you're not doing it, you're not part of it. Anyway, so I'm sure if he was here right now, this is what he would be doing. He would be teaching you, and he would be getting you all to learn to become higher humans, higher level humans, much like he did when he was here the last time. And he would be trying to motivate you to go directly to the source of the problem without any fear, and to cause it to end once and for all. Now, personally, I can't think of anything that any human could do that would display more power, more ambition, or ruthlessness when dealing with the enemy than this mission right here. This is the only thing the enemy fears. The only thing. And all we have to do is tell more people about it. Now, the fire is already lit. And it's like when Tom or Marcus, I think it was, said, Jesus is already here and he's kicking ass. Well, you know what? Yeah. There's a lot of ass kicking going on. Yeah, all that is true. But you don't see it because it's not here. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood. Even if Jesus was here, would he be wrestling against flesh and blood? Do you think Jesus, the Savior, the one, the warrior, the lion that's coming to destroy the enemy, do you think he's wrestling against flesh and blood? Do you think he's coming here to slay humans, your enemies perhaps? Here's the thing. If Jesus came here as a great force of cleansing, like some of you seem to think that he's going to be, how many of you think would be left? How many of you think are worthy? How many of you think that you haven't sinned, that you don't deserve to be punished? Anyway, the thing is that so many of the people that are pointing fingers, especially on the Trump side of the aisle, they're taking this position of holier than thou. I don't know what to call it, but they somehow feel like they're saved, that it's only a matter of time before some host of angels or Pleiadians even are going to come down here and clean up all the wicked, and that they'll be able to go back on with their lives and buy Bitcoin and have boat parades, whatever it is they do, and everything will be better because the angels will have come in and cleaned it all up, or the Pleiadians, or Trump, or Jesus even. I just don't know where this comes from. But if you are going to consider the possibility that the enemy is in retreat and that the dark forces are being slain, I know for sure that if there's angels involved, I personally don't know, but I do know that there are definitely Jedi involved. And I do know there are ancestors are involved, and the spirits of humans are involved, and the spirits of many, many humans who have lived over the eons are involved. But they're not involved in the 3D. They're involved in the 4D, because that's where we're fighting. If we fight in the 5D, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure this is all going on in the 4D, but the point is that's where the fight is. And that's how we change the reality in the 3D. God doesn't come into the 3D and snap his finger and suddenly you've got a 5D paradise in the 3D. All these 3D people with their 3D thinking have no place in the 5D. You're not worthy. You haven't got the basic lessons yet. You haven't earned it. And this is one of the reasons why Occupy the Getty is the only way this is going to work, because when that goes down, the shock and trauma that the entire world human population will experience will be such that there will be nobody left clinging to the old ways. And that is the only way this is going to happen. All these humans that somehow think they're going to get to experience something they can't even comprehend, and that somehow it'll be fitting their current lifestyle. I mean, I don't know. This is the way people think. Now, I guess it's pretty easy to say that if you haven't experienced a traumatic shock that caused you to have to wake up and start relearning everything, then you're not going to be prepared for anything. And I would say that you've got to go through that a couple times before you can really learn the lessons and be prepared to have the mind that's open enough and to learn to be objective enough and to be able to process information without emotion, that you could even fathom the true nature of reality, or the lessons and information that we all have to learn one way or the other, the hard way, before we can move to the next step. So it's really important to remind you that the last time Jesus was here, sure, a lot of people wanted healing. A lot of people wanted to hear what he had to say. I'm sure it was very entertaining, but for the most part, by and large, nobody figured it out. And the chance, the possibility that a human like that could be walking the earth today with that kind of, well, all of the qualities that we associate with Jesus, all of us should endeavor to try to be like that. But nobody could really do that. It would be so easy to fall short. But at the same time, even then, he still wasn't, nobody really believed. He was killed, crucified. Obviously, he allowed this to happen because that was the real reason why he came, was to physically die so that this so-called marriage between the chosen people and God could be divorced, could be dissolved. Husband has to die. That was a symbol. But other than that, they tortured him and they nailed him to a cross. In spite of what you believe, that's not exactly not being able to be killed. I would expect if Jesus was here today that he would be in the not able to be killed club. I would expect that, at least. But at the same time, what do you expect? I think the problem is with humans is you just can't accept that in order to operate in this level of reality, it has to be done as a human. If God, the Son of God, the Holy Spirit, is going to come here and do something, it's going to be as a human. You're going to just have to get used to it. And unfortunately, human egos, that's a problem. There should be millions of people walking the streets today emulating Jesus. And of course, if someone was to do that, they would be condemned as some sort of crazy person or heretic or whatever. But in the reality is that's exactly what Christ says to do. Do as he did. Be like him. Do exactly as he did. If you let go of the ego crap and you stop trying to assign the individuality of Jesus to someone that's trying to do as he did, maybe it might be easier for you to do as he did. Maybe if we stopped trying to condemn those that actually try to do as he did, maybe it might become easier for more people to actually make the effort. Unfortunately, I guess a lot of the people that would suggest that they are trying to do that, they're doing it for money. I see that a lot. That was the theme of my last show, like the woman that said the Holy Spirit moved through her hands. Little things like this. But again, 7 billion humans. If a tiny portion of us tried, made an effort to do as Jesus did, actually made an effort, and obviously coming up short, but if we actually did that, we could have our world back. We could do all these things. But it's true. It's like Jesus said. When he said, do as I have done, he said, go do greater than I have done. You will be able to do even greater than I have done. That means we get to save the world. He also says that he's going to use our foot to step on the serpent. That doesn't mean while we're sitting on the couch watching Donald Trump or something, we're going to casually lift our foot and step on a meandering snake in the living room. No, that means we're going to go to war with the enemy and search it out. A serpent is a difficult enemy because it can hide and crawl into those dark places. You've got to root it out. Until we have done that, until we have physically and spiritually stomped on all those serpents hiding in those dark places, we'll never get our world back. And truly, that is the thing that we were put here for, and that's what Jesus asked us to do. It's really, really clear. There is no better mission. There is nothing more important, except, of course, teaching people that service to others is the true path. But I guess the real lesson here is that all of these humans, on whatever side, whatever religion, whatever side of persuasion, if you believe in God, you believe in the Creator, and you believe in some higher power, you've got to stop thinking that the God of creation is just going to step in here and fix everything that we allowed to happen. You think that Satan just snuck in here and took over and boo-hoo, poor us, we've been a victim for all this time, and when is Jesus going to show up and fix it? That's what we're here for. That's our job. We get to play that role. Now maybe you don't. Maybe you don't have any role. Maybe you don't play any part. Maybe most of the people in the world are just not going to make it. They're not going to get saved. It sure doesn't look like it right now. Maybe we can turn that around. But of course, the purpose of this mission is to try to keep all these people from dying before we get there. Unfortunately now, because of COVID, listen, if you willingly take that damn shot, don't think it's going to be okay. It was your choice. You made it. Nobody held you put their arm around your neck and forced you to take it. Don't assume you're going to be okay. Don't assume God's going to fix it. You made that choice. And if your children did it, stop worrying about what's going to happen to them. Worry about the people that haven't done it yet. Try to save the ones that can still be saved. That's probably just enough to get this video kicked off of YouTube. Did you hear that YouTube gave itself an award gave the CEO of YouTube an award for free expression? They created an award. They called it the Free Expression Award. Then they gave it to their CEO. Just incredible. I'll just say one more time, as I've trying to get in the habit of saying now. I should mention I was slamming the CIA and just getting really nasty on Twitter the other day, and now I'm kicked off of Twitter for 7 days for whatever. Anyway, the point is that I'm very open about saying that my intention is to destroy the entire power structure of the world, raze its monuments, destroy its institutions, level it, go back to scratch. And at the same time, of course, liberate the wealth that has been stolen from us and the power, and do my best to help rebuild the world and get us on the right direction that we need to be on. And then I can die. But the point is that what more can I say? I'm the enemy of all the world governments. They can't kill me. My name won't go out there. They won't arrest me. I've challenged the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, whoever has any power, the Mossad, you name it, world government in general. Where are they? The Templars, the Mafia. I see no killers. The only thing that's preventing me from doing what I need to do is motivating enough of you to help me motivate more people so that we can have a majority, so that we can do what needs to be done. This is the simple path to getting our world back. I'm pretty sure we're well within our way, but as I get older, I'd like it to happen sooner, and I'd like to see it happening. It's like waiting for water to boil. I want it now. So, somebody pointed out I've done something like 500 shows since 2013. I'm having to do a little review of the last 9 years, starting at 2012, of course, because of the book I'm writing. And I'll tell you, it's mentally, it is quite a challenging thing, having to get in that mode of remembering all these things. But at the same time, I have a feeling more so that it's necessary, it's needed, it's time, without even really having a clear outline of where this is going to go, because to me it seems simple. It's everything that happened in the last 9 years. But in order to do that, I need to go into areas that are not just my observations of things I experienced, but what I've learned in these 9 years. Like Trump, for instance. I went into that period of time not knowing anything about the man, and I had to find out the hard way. And I'm going to have to devote some attention to explaining how I came to that conclusion, and at the same time, I'm going to have to probably waste quite a bit of typing on providing some evidence or some in-depth background to support why I came to these conclusions. So that's unfortunate, but I think it's necessary. And at the same time, I also know that when the first book was written, it came out quite a bit inspirational. I even go back, I look at that, and I think, wow, I must have been really inspired to write that. Well, I think that over the years, we've had quite a bit of opportunity to learn things, and I certainly don't think there should be any reason not to have a certain amount of inspirational or enlightening information in the new book. But at the same time, I feel like it's going to be spontaneous or inspired. I don't feel like I'm some big vessel of pearls just waiting to unload it into the book. So it'll be interesting, I think, even for myself, just to see exactly how it comes out. And then, of course, the journey isn't over, so the end is going to be a little bit speculative. Another thing that I'm going to have to do in this book that I certainly did not do in the first book, and that is I'm going to have to talk about Rambo. Now, this right here could be enough to turn off a lot of people, because even in the first book, when I started talking about, say, the NSA or the cavers trying to get me to come up with weapons for fighting aliens, that kind of thing right there is the sort of thing that some idiot that's looking for something to pick apart and try to use as a tool of derision against me is going to jump on. And of course, that only shows or continues to illustrate just how stupid average humans are, because that's the very thing, the very criteria that our enemies use to judge us, our inability to understand or accept things that they deal with every day. So it's going to be a bit of a gamble, but I think it's necessary, because if I've said anything tonight, it's that nothing that we can expect to happen, the change that we can expect to happen, is going to happen without the work of the JEDI and those that are fighting in the 4D, and those of you that have devoted your lives to the mission here in the 3D. Now, if you're out there talking about save our children or do something else, or I had one woman today contact me about the Noah's Ark experience, and I don't know where the hell it is, Tennessee or whatever the heck, wherever they built that silly thing. But she was all indignant and even went so far as to suggest that somehow the idiots that were building that fake Noah's Ark were somehow just as wicked and as evil and needing of my attention as the people under the Getty. Now, that kind of thinking is just plain stupid. First of all, I don't give a damn about what's going on the surface of the earth. I care about what's going on underground, because that's how we fix what's going on the surface. A friend of mine said that she's got some issues with COVID. All these people are having to force to get shots. You want to get a green card, you got to get a shot. You want to work for a company that's got over 100 people, you got to get a shot. Yes, the world is coming to the end for a lot of people, but guess what? Fuck the COVID thing. You want to get out of there? You want to stop this COVID bullshit? Occupy the Getty. Follow me. And when I say follow me, I mean follow me. You can't do it. Somebody said, well, maybe we should enlist the gangbangers, all the BLM idiots, tell them that black children are being held captive under the Getty and all that. And let's turn them loose on the structure, and maybe that'll help us establish a beachhead. No. We're not going to go all jungle and savage, because that is not going to present our message. The only way our message is going to be presented is if I do it. Okay? So that's your job. Make them say my name. I can't do it alone. I need you to do it. I need more of you to do it. That's the mission. That's the mission. Oh, when are we going to occupy the Getty? We're going to go down there and storm it and kick everyone's ass and free those children. Yeah. No. First things first. First, I need 1 million people behind me. I need a little power to get some influence from the guys in power. Because here's the thing. I know you think that if Jesus just were to show up, that the bad guys would just lay down and give up. They didn't do that when he was alive. So what do you think is going to happen differently this time? Is he going to threaten them with death? Is he going to vaporize them? Turn them to stone? What are you thinking? His glory is going to be so great that they're just going to suddenly realize how wicked they are and give up? Wouldn't that be something? You know what? That's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to make the enemy give up. We can do that, but only if you get to work. Only if you get behind this mission. The enemy already knows that this is the mission that brings them down, but they're going to hang in there and fight us as long as they can and kill as many of us as possible. If you want to be part of the solution, this is how you do it. Nothing else works. Well, I think we're going to have a little bit of a short show, but I'm just going to go back to the book here real quick before we go. The thing is I want to get this, I want to pound it out. I'm pretty confident. I ordered myself a new copy of Windows Office, Microsoft Office, so I can type the silly thing. But anybody that's out there that can help me get this thing formatted, that would be helpful. But I don't see myself selling it. I don't see that. I think we've had so much success with distributing the first book by giving it away. That's the real answer. That's the only way we can really beat the enemy, is by doing that. I hope you guys will support me in that endeavor, just like I expect you to support me in everything. I also want to mention tonight that Break Lady isn't with me because she lives in Europe, and it's really hard for her to get up out of bed and do this and then be productive for the rest of the day. Because of losing sleep and not being able to get back to sleep. So that's why she's not here with me at the moment. And hopefully she'll be able to catch up on her rest, and we'll be able to work it out so that this will work. But I just want you guys to understand, I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about her here, and I just want to let you guys know that I certainly appreciate the effort anybody makes on behalf of myself or Truth Cat Radio. So I certainly hope that she's feeling better. All of us are, like I said, getting exposed to a lot of crap right now. The more we fight this vaccine, the more they dump this crap on us. So it's going to be very hard to avoid the COVID. The crap they're dumping in the sky on us right now is just insane. And the very fact that normal humans are not screaming about these bastards that are spraying and poisoning us in the streets just tells you how stupid everyone is. And what do you think Jesus is going to do? Make those planes fall out of the sky? Snap his fingers and the air is going to be clean? Your COVID's going to be gone? I don't think so. I do want to mention here just a couple things real quick. First of all, if you want to help us out, since I'm going to bail here, I'm going to try to drink some tea and go to bed, take care of my throat, my voice. If you want to help out financially, of course, the new PayPal is StephenKelly714@yahoo.com. I want to thank all the people that have sent donations since the event, but obviously I still have to continue to ask. What else? Like I said, also, if you want a copy of the book, you want healing, you want to learn about being a Jedi, send me an email, not to the one I just gave you, but to law17gun@aol.com. That's it. Let me just look and see who's here. We got Cyprus, Buffalo, Chicago. Hey, Chicago. Let's say hi. Who else? Los Angeles. Hi. How you doing? Bumpus Mills, Tennessee. Hey there. All right, so the gang's all here, I see. All right, guys. Let's see what else I want to leave you with. Well, like I said, I hope I could get this book out quick. I hope I could keep from getting sickly. And other than that, I'm just going to keep throwing it back at you guys. Like I said in my group today, if everybody in my group, which is only we're hitting like, I don't know, 1,300 people or something like that. If every one of you just stepped it up and just really started kicking ass out there, which you may be doing, this would be over very shortly. So let's just keep doing what we're doing and do it more. And certainly, if you're starting to get upset about something else in the world, don't forget, it's a distraction from this. Okay? So when you want to tell me about some guy that you think is doing wonderful things, I don't want to hear about it unless they're talking about the Getty. Okay? Right now, anything is good. Even Allie Carter out there who's working for the enemy, she's still talking about the Getty, and that serves us. So let's just keep doing it. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave you with that. I hope you did enjoy it. I know a lot of you guys really enjoyed thought the last show was a crack up, probably because I dropped so many F-bombs. I don't know. I think I used the word bullshit a lot, but not so. Not tonight. Okay? All right. Anyway, it's not a matter of what would Jesus do. It's what would you do? Okay? What would you do, and what are you not doing right now? I think that's really the question right now. It's not a matter of what Jesus would do, when he's going to come back, or what. It's a matter of what you're not doing. Because even if he was here, which I kind of think he is, I think that it doesn't really matter if you're not doing what you need to do. Okay? You're not part of the solution. You're not going to be joining the party. All right? So stop thinking about your bottom line. You're being a good businessman, and think a little bit more about following him and doing what needs to be done. Because that's what we're here for. We're not here to enjoy our quick little lives and leave something to the kids. We're here to leave an impression that's going to last for millions of years. We should be thankful that we were given this opportunity. And if you don't take advantage of it, it's on you. All right? So I'm going to leave you with that. And I'm going to remind you that my name is Stephen Kelly. This is the Stephen D. Kelly Show. We are Truth Cat Radio, www.truthcatradio.com. Did I say that right? No. TruthCatRadio.com. Yeah, www.truthcatradio.com. Yeah, I got it. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. I guess that's it. All right. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope I see you next week, and we'll have something fun to talk about. Who knows? Maybe I'll get Jim the Jet guy in here. Either way, I look forward to being with you guys again real soon, and I'll do my best to get this up on YouTube. And please like the silly video, and please leave a comment. And if you've listened to the whole thing, thank you so much. Okay? But spread the word. Okay? And don't tell me what you did. Just whatever you're doing, whatever you want to tell me you did, do it more. Okay? That's what you need to do. All right. I'll see you guys next week. Good night. God bless. Adios. And goodbye.